gear for Finnish Brutality 2025. So as you know, this was a winter brutality and we have a bit of specific gear for it, but let's first talk about guns. I know that everyone is first interested about guns. So my main rifle for the match was the Desertec Wolverine. I got it 2 days before the match, so I just had a time to zero it. I was kind of hoping that it is a quality rifle, that it will work, and spoiler alert, it did. So a sigh of relief. This is a bullpup rifle. I am kind of used to shooting with the bullpup rifles. The F2000S was, or still is, the main rifle for the Slovenian military, and I have kind of a love and hate relationship with it, but essentially I know how to shoot with bullpups. Before we go into too much specifics, let's just look at the setup. So this is the Wolverine. It's a multi-caliber rifle. Right now I have it set it up in 2-3 Remington. QD sling. I'm using the Magpul MS4, I think, and I'm actually using this QD sling swivel on the opposite side, because on how I get it around my shoulder and through the gear, this kind of feels better and it's less in the way. In the front, I have the QD sling swivel from UTG, and it's perfectly hidden way over here, so it does not interfere with my grip. Now for the optic, I went with the Integrix 1:8 LPVO, first focal plane. Not because I would need it or that this would be the best choice for the match, because Finnish Brutality is a relatively short range match. I think the furthest shots are around 100 meters. So my optimal setup would probably be a red dot and a magnifier that I can remove. But the main reason I went with the Integrix is that this is the prototype scope that I have for a couple of years now, and I tested it in all of the different conditions. And it just held up to all of the abuse without any issues. So I also wanted to test it in the extreme cold environment with snow and all of the other stuff. Spoiler alert, it worked perfectly. You serious? Yes, I had some issues on certain stages where I maybe lost a portion of a second because the 1X is not completely the same as a red dot. And since it's a first focal plane, the reticle is very small on 1X and it's not illuminated brightly enough, at least for me, but no serious issue. And where it actually helped me was on the stages where you had very small targets at reasonably short distances, but because they were small targets, I used magnification and they were high value targets. So if you missed, you got a 60-second penalty. That's a lot, you know. So for those kind of shots, it really helped me out. I just cranked the magnification a bit higher, hold my breath, press the trigger properly, and that was it. Now, additionally, I have this UTG side-mounted red dot, just in case. Yes, it is a bit of extra weight, but I didn't know what I was expecting on the match, and I just needed something that was zeroed at 40 meters. So if I need to take some very close range, quick shots, I just do this. It worked perfectly, and what really surprised me is that the battery for this had zero issues with very extreme low temperatures. Now the scope, the illumination still works, but I feel like it's not as bright as it should be. We were expecting a lot of snow, and there was some snowfall, but not anything near what I was expecting, but I was prepared. So these scope covers are actually 3D printed. They are from my friend Marco. And they essentially just cover your scope and you can remove them by just pushing down the side like this. The mount, the scope mount, is the UTG Pro mount with a QD attachment. If you set it up properly, it's rock solid, it will not move, hold zero, very nice. After I first used the Silent Steel Micro Streamer suppressor, as this short boy over here, this is the Gen 3 version, and it's kind of a flow-through technology and still suppresses perfectly enough for me. When I first used it, I was just in love. It's a very short suppressor, it's a very light suppressor. It actually attaches to my muzzle device. Oh, motherfucker! Oh. Tight, yeah! Okay, so the thing is that when I do any kind of competition and stuff, when I attach the suppressor, I really tighten it with a lot of force, and then also do witness marks, because the last thing I want in the match is suppressor coming loose messing with my accuracy, or even getting a baffled strike. If not anything else, it will mess up my score. But yeah, essentially, this is the silent steel flash hider, and the suppressor attaches on it. It's super light. It has special kind of flow-through technology. It actually offers really good suppression for 5.56, and it's a no-brainer. So when I first used it, now I want to use it on all of my guns, and it's a part of my setup. And the light is the Ace Beam G15. This is now my personal favorite, not because it's just the best light, but it's also very nicely priced. Even if I damage it or lose it, I don't really care because I'll just buy a new one. These are super quality made. I have one on because if you don't know, Finland is very north, and at this time of the year, their days are very short. So you have a long night. The sun rises quite late and it goes down very early. So some people at the match had a misfortune of shooting in low light. I came prepared, so I have a very powerful light on my gun, just in case. I didn't have to use it, but I set it up in a way that if I had to, I would be ready. This is a very simple Magpul hand stop. It's attached directly to the M-lock with one screw. Essentially just gives me something to brace my hand on, even with gloves. So I have a very solid grip on the gun. And then if you look here, with gloves or without the glove, my hand goes in this pocket here. So very ergonomic, very demure. Essentially, the rifle worked perfectly, no issues with reliability. It is a super accurate rifle. It is a bit heavy because of the scope and because it's a multi-caliber setup, but no issues here. I had a couple of instances where just my gun handling in general was strange because it was a bullpup rifle and we had to do a lot of stuff with skis and with snowmobiles, and sometimes it just felt differently, but didn't really influence on my performance. I actually had to do a lot of manipulations with the magazines. The magazines are drop free with this button here, or you can use the button over here. That is perfectly natural position. You have the bolt release here, and the non-reciprocating ambidextrous charging handle also on a very convenient position. So there were stages where I had to unload the gun quickly, do the emptying shot, so shoot one round without the magazine, so the rifle is empty. I feel like I was as fast with the bullpup as I would be with a normal rifle. Actually, I own this rifle for less than 2 weeks now, so I will do a full review on it with accuracy testing and all of the important stuff in the next video. It looks good in your hands. Yeah,
It's my size. Nice. Wow, that trigger's actually not that bad. Try to go canted here. Nice, man.
I already don't like the safety. It's not where your middle finger normally would be. And it's accurate.
I like it. And my trusty sidearm, the Arex Delta X. What I did is I just replaced the lower with this one, which is not Tiffany blue, but I think this is actually a very specific dynamic ice camouflage, so not Tiffany blue. Of course, it sits in the BattleKnown Solutions holster. This one is actually a bit of a prototype because it has their proprietary level 2 release thingy. I don't know if we're not allowed to show this close up. It is 3D printed, but essentially why I used it is I wanted to test the functionality in very low temperatures with the possibility of ice and freezing. I did use some lubricant in it, and essentially the advantage of this release button is that when you go to draw, you press it, and it's very tactile click. It clicks in and releases the level 2 retention. I personally love it. We did a lot of testing on it. I think it's faster and more ergonomic, at least for me. And I really am looking forward to having this as a proper product, and so we can release it to public. This is my Arex Delta X. This one already shot a lot of rounds. It's still going, it's very accurate, it's reliable. It's paired with the Holosun EPS, still the original one that survived a lot of brutalities and light infantries and all of the different kind of stuff. And it has a couple of fresh scratches here and here. Still, my opinion hasn't changed. I still think that Holosun EPS is the best pistol optic right now on the market. And the only thing that I did before coming to the Brutality, I replaced the battery so I had a fresh one, because with minus 20 degrees and wind chill, I was not sure if the battery would hold up. So a fresh wet battery probably helped, but yeah. No real surprises here. I paired it with the Holosun PID high candela version. It has a rechargeable battery, wide light. Again, we weren't sure when we will shoot, so there was a possibility that we would have to shoot in dusk or dawn. I went with the high candela version because apparently high candela is better it's better at penetrating fog and this kind of mist or light rain or whatever, or maybe snow. So I was hoping that if that's the case, this will help me. One thing. Well, when preparing for Finnish Brutality, my first idea was to completely degrease the pistol, especially the striker. But then later on, just before the Brutality, I checked the weather forecast and I saw that Helsinki had relatively high temperatures, which convinced me to instead go back and lightly apply some lubricant on some of the parts. Of course, also a little bit on the striker, just a little bit, so it was not completely dry. What happened is, first round of the day, the pistol probably froze. It was so cold that the lubricant in the striker channel becomes gunky or even actually freezes. And that means that the striker doesn't go forward, doesn't hit the round. So I had a light primer strike on the first round, and it was not even a light primer strike. I looked at the round after I kind of did the stage. There was zero indication that anything touched the primer. So it really was kind of stuck frozen. But one round, one trigger press, and then doing the tap rack bang helped it. All of the other rounds worked. No other issues there. But before doing the second stage with the pistol, when I had time to prepare for the stage, what I did is just rag the slide a couple of times, press the trigger on an empty pistol, just to release that striker if it was frozen again. So no issues there. But just to explain to people that maybe don't know about this, this is an inherent problem of all of the striker-fired pistols. If you introduce water in the striker channel, or if you introduce too much lubrication, or in our case, if you have some lubrication but very low temperatures, anything that can slow down the striker will cause it to malfunction. And there were actually a lot of people with Glocks that had similar issues. If I would prepare it for that kind of low temperatures that I did not expect we will have, and just left the striker completely dry, the trigger feel is worse. But if it's dry metal on metal contact, nothing can freeze, so I wouldn't have that one light primer strike. Well, I learned something. For shoes, I bought these Salomon Cross Track. I got them in white, not because of the white camo, but because this was the only version that they had in my size. Essentially, these are optimized for snow. They have the more aggressive grip. They actually have a very sturdy rubber front and back with points for attaching the ski bindings. And even they worked well with the universal ski bindings that the Finns provided. They are a bit dirty here, but essentially they grip in and I can use them normally. The advantage of these is that they are waterproof and they're very nicely isolated from the side, but especially in the bottom with very thick sole. So I was never cold in my feet. Really good ones, I can recommend them. Now for the gear. From all of this, I would say that the most important and the best thing was the mesh underwear. So this is a base layer, the L1 from Vodosteleka. So this is the layer that is closest to your skin, directly on your skin. It's made from merino wool, which is probably one of the best on the market to retain heat kind of wick away moisture and even provide insulation when it's wet. This is my first time seeing this kind of very strange looking garment where you have half of it is kind of made from this mesh, and just didn't make sense until I tried it.
What the fuck is this?
And now I think this is the best thing that you can get. So the idea here is that this mesh gets around your skin, and it provides pockets for air. It traps air. And you would think that because it's mesh and air can go through, you would just lose temperature, but it's not the case. Even if you put this on without any other layer, you can feel the difference. It's super warm here. This is because when you're standing still and there's no wind chill, wind breeze, nothing is moving, you're not moving, you actually have a layer of air around your skin that kind of isolates you from outside of temperatures. And this thing kind of helps trap it on your body. Now, additionally, if you put other layers on, this just kind of increases the functionality of this garment. When you're active, when you start to move and when you start to sweat, this mesh works also in the other way. Instead of trapping all of the moisture and all of the moist air, it actually breathes and gets it away from your body. Of course, we have the underpants. And what this does is if you're wearing this under your normal BDUs, it makes them winter-proof almost. Now, on the outer layer, I used the Vrsteleka TST pants and the combat shirt. Now, these are 50-50 NICO, so nylon and cotton. And I would say that these are super light. I would usually not use this kind of pants and this kind of combat shirt for winter environment, because first it breathes. So if there's any wind, you will get it will not stop it, so it will go through. And the other thing is because it has a lot of cotton and it's very soft and very thin, it can wick moisture. So not the ideal choice, but because we had such good undergarments and other gear, I decided to use it. I didn't want to be in the M05 camouflage like everyone else. I wanted to stand out because, I don't know, I'm retarded like that. My point is, if you have a really good L1, so first underlayer and then second underlayer, you can use pretty much anything over that and it will retain enough heat that even in minus 20 degrees, you can still be comfortable outside. Now for the water plunge, I use the Vrsteleka M05 BDUs, which I suspect are made from a different material, or maybe it's laminated, or maybe it has some kind of like poly backing, because what happened is that when I went into the water, my pockets were full of water, and when I came out, they were just retaining water. My advice to Vrsteleka is to include a couple of drainage holes. That's one thing. But the second thing about this kind of material is that it dried out very quickly. I was surprised how well it dried out. For the outer layer, I used the Vrsteleka M05 winter camo. These are overalls. Now this thing is made from a very thin polyamide material. It's light. It goes over your BDUs, provides camouflage, but also kind of provides a bit of water resistance. So for example, if you are kneeling or crawling in the snow, this will kind of stop it from directly contacting your BDUs, melting on you, get you wet, and so on. So my idea with the snow camo overalls was that I didn't want to go like full in with the whole package. Firstly, because everyone did it. And secondly, I get very hot, I sweat a lot, and this additionally traps moisture. So I just decided to infuriate all of the Instagram warriors, and one day I went with only snow pants and normal multicam upper, and the other day I went with the snow upper and multicam pants. Now, if you look at the footage, actually that's not a bad combination. It's actually quite functional, but of course if you're on a range where everywhere there's snow, it's less than optimal. Over the top of the gear, I use the Vorsteleka Sarma TST plate carrier. Just a very simple and functional setup. I use these elastic cummerbunds because I wanted to keep it very slim and I didn't really need any extra gear on the sides. These are the Vorsteleka, what is it, the three, what is the front patch? I don't know the English words. Whatever this is, these are 3 fast rifle magazine pouches. They work perfectly. I used them during the match and yeah, very good. On the back side, there's a Vorsteleka backpack for the plate carrier. This one is actually also for breachers, can be extended. You can use Halligan tools or bolt cutters or whatever to put in. At first, I wanted to actually have a water bladder inside for my water, but then after seeing the temperatures, it would just freeze. So I removed it and used a couple of bottles of Coke and water that I replaced regularly so they didn't freeze. So I had my water. Maybe one thing that I noticed is this winter jacket from Vorsteleka is made in a really good way. So they think about all of the gear. Essentially, if you have a plate carrier, you can put this over your plate carrier and open it up with a zipper here. So you just open the zipper up and you have access to your magazines and plate carrier. But what I noticed is that in a way that I use it with this backpack, it was just a bit too bulky, so I decided to use it over the jacket. Again, this will infuriate some people that are camo gurus or whatever, but it worked for me. It didn't look that bad. I think it looked cool, but yeah. That's it. That's all of the gear, and yeah, bye-bye.